Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we talk about movies under 60% on Rotten Tomatoes and kind of tell you what we think of it. And first of all, everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and more importantly, Happy Life Day. And if those are asking what the fuck Life Day is, well, let me tell you, you're in for a treat because we're talking from 1978 Star Wars Holiday Celebration.
Hmm.
Oh, this was a chore, and because it was such a
Yes.
chore, Soto, we had to bring a friend that we've brought with us on these Star Wars journeys. You know, the first chore way back at Phantom Menace. Mandis is joining us today. Mandis, how are you doing this Christmas season?
Oh, just after that, I'm sharing the pain.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I say after that.
It's a great way to kick off the holidays to watch
Yeah,
this.
that's it. Oh, dear. The
but yes,
pain.
for those who don't know, this came out in 1978. It has a 25% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't think it should
Wow,
be
that
that
high.
high.
That's it. What the heck?
I am kind of shocked. So, um, this started because in one of our Star Wars talks that podcasts we've done, we were talking about some of the shitty things, and we brought up the holiday celebration. And I know personally, I saw bits. I never saw it from beginning to end. I know Soto hasn't seen it. You know,
Nope.
Madness, you
Never
talked
even heard
about
of
it.
it.
So, I felt like this would be such a great Christmas movie for us.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice
I know we're
job,
gonna.
Chad.
Yeah,
Well, you know
so
what? Yes,
sharing
because
this.
we love Star Wars, and this could be the worst Star Wars thing we've ever watched. But before we really get into it, Soto, let's start with you. What
Mm.
were your thoughts? Actually, before we get started, I want to say something. I was happy at first. I was happy for the first minute. I saw Han and Chewie. Yes, the special effects wasn't great because you knew this was made for TV, and then the
Sure.
music started, and I was happy. Eh, and then things just fell apart. So, what were your thoughts as you started watching this infamous holiday celebration movie? It's not
Well,
a
I
movie,
had
TV show,
uh,
I should say.
no idea what this was really. I hadn't even seen any clips of it going into it. Obviously, I just heard Tengu talk about it in our previous talks, but um, so I had no idea it was going to be basically like about Chewbacca's family. And then when they were introducing all the characters, and they're like, Lumpy as
Yes.
Chewbacca's son. I'm
Son.
like, what the fuck? And I don't know what his dad's name is. Itchy. I
Itchy,
have no
itchy.
That's
Itchy,
all
and
very
his
low.
wife who's wearing an apron. It was. I immediately was like, oh no, something bad is about to happen here, and it's complicated. There are some terrible things. There's some really weird things, and I'll get into it before. It oddly enough wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But that doesn't mean it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Interesting, interesting.
That's
Because
an
I will
interesting
say,
take.
you're right, because, they
You're
had to
right on
throw,
point.
for that time, they had to throw on the apron. They're like, this is a female Wookiee, just so you could tell the difference, basically. Nala,
1978, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
1978. But
Yeah.
yeah, I had to laugh because it's like, okay, once things got started, like the first, I think it was almost 10 minutes where there's no
Yeah.
dialogue. And it's the
Yeah.
Wookiees yelling at each other or talking to each
Yeah.
other.
The kid
And
freaking out.
kid freaking out,
Lumpy.
you're trying to figure. Yes, Lumpy and Nala. Nala, the most common, at least the
Uh,
most normal name out of these Wookiees, these four Wookiees here. And I have to ask this, and Mandus, feel free to chime in or so too. Like, we learned that Chewie had a family because you got to remember when this
Cool.
came out. Well, first of all, when this came out, there was no Empire Strikes Back. This was just the first Star Wars. This was done because of merchandising reasons. We're going to get more into why George Lucas and what happened to it, but that was basically it. But I have to say, is Chewbacca like the worst dad, husband ever? Because if you think throughout Star Wars, he's never
never
talked
did.
about his family. He's never gone back to see his family.
Yeah.
He comes back for a Life Day, and does him and Han just leave again? So
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, I'm like, all right, Chewie family, this could be fine. Side character from Star Wars.
Hmm.
But yeah, 10 minutes of just Wookiee talk, no subtitles, and you're just
Nice.
like, what is going on? But
I
Ma-
understood what was happening, but I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, that's it. Make enough to go along.
I was
It's
wondering
like
why. I
watching.
was like, this is on TV? Like, this is actually like played on like on CBS, and people sat down and were like, yeah, this is something I'm going to watch tonight.
It's like watching Mystery Science Theater, just making up your own subtitles.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Yeah. No, I just was the whole dynamic was just so strange and um like you said, I was just kind of like I was waiting for the bad stuff to happen. And the bad stuff for me started to happen, and Mattis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, uh when the musical stuff happened.
Oh yeah, I've got that down. Oh jeez. Oh, that the sheen they put on Itchy's head. I was like, how can that be worse than? How can that be more trippy than Jefferson Airplane?
Oh my God, the what wait, when Itchy was watching softcore porn, or am I too
That's
ahead?
it.
No,
Yeah.
you're a little ahead of what happened, but no, that's what I was talking about. She's like, I created this. This is your fantasy, and this is this. I'm like, what the
Why would
fuck?
he
Am I
fantasize a hairless
How is this made to
being?
TV?
Like he
Keep
fantasized
watching.
a hairless being. That's so strange. I was like so thrown off. I was like, this guy's like, oh, you're gonna really like this. It's a really wow factor. And then it's like, I'm assuming Itchy is just going through some sort of like weird virtual reality sex program.
It's like people getting turned on by furries.
Yeah,
It's
you know
actually-
what? Actually, that's a good point. It's the reverse furry theory. Yes, furries actually like hairless people. Yes, that's exactly what happened there.
Oh my god, yeah. I just like. Well, first of all, yes, that scene happened. So before that scene, I was kind of
It did.
amazed. I'm like, the Wookiees have a lot of technology. If you think about
Yeah.
it again, 1978. They have the VR. They have like these computer systems, and I know Star Wars. It was futuristic, but I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, so real quick, George Lucas did. He didn't have too much of a hand. He wanted, obviously, again, I said merchandise, and he just said he wanted based on Chewbacca's family, and they hired a lot of writers, a lot of variety show writers, because the network that aired this wanted a variety show feel, because that was the big thing in the 70s. Hence, you see all these cameos and stuff like that from the big times. But yes, and then to get Lumpy, the son, to be quiet,
Okay,
he
okay.
turns on a machine, and we find out that, I'm like, Lumpy like circus performers, and I don't know, it's like they were small, then they're big, and then small.
Oh, that was so weird.
Yeah.
People tripping when they make that. Tell you.
I felt like I was on drugs just watching it, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'm sober. I am 100. I'm not drinking, and I'm just watching this. I'm like, what the fuck is going
I had to do a
on?
sobriety test just to make sure he wasn't.
Yeah, it's
After
almost
that.
like the most mainstream. It's like the most mainstream Star Wars product I've ever seen. Because in a variety show, yeah, you're gonna have people dancing around and things like that, but it just
kinda
didn't
makes
make any
sense,
sense.
but that
I was
didn't.
just I didn't understand anything what was going on, and then it's like you go into the cooking show one,
Yeah, that was
and then
rough.
it's like a video of the cooking show, and it's like
Chop, chop, chop! Like that, she didn't even know how to use a
What?
knife. Like Nala's just taking the knife and like slamming it down, and it's just like, what the fuck?
What are you doing? Yeah.
whisk and I'm like, what are you even making? Like, what the fuck? And then
Wish, chop, hammer. What are you doing?
yeah, there's that. I think there's another like scene
Hand come out
where
and sneeze.
like fucking Lumpy's watching some sort of instructional video on how to set up his communicator,
Yeah.
and like the guy is like a robot maybe, and I don't know what the fuck was going on there.
So the central story, for lack of better terms, that was happening throughout this is the fact that Chewie and Han are missing because
Yes.
they're trying to get Chewie home for Life Day, which is the big thing they celebrate every year, and obviously the Wookiees family is looking for Chewie because he's not home yet. The Imperials might have gone. We don't know what happened to him. And then they video Skype Luke Skywalker, blonder
Oh
than
my
I've
God.
ever seen
Oh.
him in his life. I don't know what movie he
Yes.
did after Star
His
Wars, but I'm like,
face looked
It's
fucked up
makeup.
Yeah.
too.
So much
well,
makeup.
if
Yeah.
he had that
His
accident,
facial expressions, it looks so bad.
It's
and then
probably doing what do you call it? The stage show. And, I've got to do a quick cameo here.
Yeah.
Leave the makeup on. I'm good.
Oh my God,
And
it was
then-
so bad.
And then they call like Leia with C-3PO, and Leia seems to be doing a desk job. I'm like, isn't she like the princess? Like, isn't she like the leader of the alliance and stuff like that? And she's just here on a desk, like do. But yeah, I will admit, I mean, everything was just put together. We did have the central theme. I think the best part, in my opinion, if I had to pick one, was though it was a weird cartoon style, it was the introduction of Boba Fett. They kind of had a little story there. But then it was weird because it's like, well, is that happening in real time? Because why was the son trying to hide what was going on, like from the Imperials?
I did not know, and I was stunned that was Boba Fett's first like actual appearance in the Star Wars universe.
Well, again,
right.
yes, 1978. So this is before Empire. So this is how they introduced Boba Fett, and I'm just like, okay, you know,
They were filming Empire during, I think, this holiday special too, right?
right? Yeah, they must have been because obviously Empire came out in 1980, so they had to have been filming it again. They did this. The idea was to keep Star Wars relevant, which. Who knows? You know, I mean, at that time, again, there was the first Star Wars, but yeah, they were filming Empire, and I think that is the way they brought Boba Fett. But oh my god,
That
but
animation was trippy as fuck too, man. Like
it was, but at least
it was fucking weird.
But they had at least if that cartoon was the only bit. I would have been like, okay, there's a beginning, there's a middle, there's an end. There's actually a complete story to this. It makes sense. I don't know but I just don't know how that fit in the overall thing of a holiday celebration, which again, they don't say Merry Christmas, it's Life Day.
It makes sense.
So they were woke before woke.
It makes sense. Although the Jefferson Starship, or whatever the fuck they were called, Jefferson Airplane, whatever, they did make reference to somebody coming back after they were dead. So I was like, wait, is there some sort of like weird Judeo-Christian like mix in there too?
Yeah,
with the Star Wars?
Good point.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you remember again at the end of Star Wars, Vader, you know, the Han and Millennium Falcon shoot Vader, and he goes out. His plane goes spinning off to space, and that's the last we see of Vader. If Star Wars never had a sequel, remember, we don't have the Empire. He's not back yet, and then Darth Vader reappears in this. So, like, the big reveal that he's still alive comes from the holiday celebration.
I mean, Darth Vader is kind of Jesus. Anakin Skywalker is kind of Force Jesus, because we don't really know if he has a dad. I think he was created by midichlorians. Not to get too back into Phantom Menace, but
that's why I'm so
midichlorians created Anakin Skywalker from the canon, as I'm aware. So Jesus, Anakin Skywalker, same thing to me. So yeah, this is all tying together.
Wow.
Yeah, he was planning this well ahead of time. Like, this is a 30-year plan for him.
Oh my God!
Wait,
yeah,
Jesus
no, George
was 30
Lucas
when he went on the road.
Darth Vader, Jesus Christ! Who would have thunk?
No,
I'm gonna put Darth on my Christmas tree now.
He's on mine.
Right
we got Star
I'm gonna
Wars
put him in the
all over, too.
nativity theme, like a baby Anakin Skywalker, right? It's like Mary Joseph and then little Anakin Skywalker in the cradle. I'm gonna start doing that from now on.
So I for the time they had like the great cameos, and I think the one I enjoyed just because I love the Golden Girls was B. Arthur. You know, I mean, it was again. Well, I enjoyed her being there. It kind of made, you know, at least it was something. I'm just saying.
She was a bartender at Mos Eisley or whatever the fuck it was.
Correct, and she was trying to kick people up on one more drink. I'm just saying, you know what? I at least enjoyed her.
Is this canon? Is this special canon?
I don't think so. They just wanted a special guest. Yeah, you can see.
I like that B. Arthur is canon in Star Wars, though. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, all this is
had a lot of the same like aliens that were in like the first Star Wars too.
Oh yeah, in the canteen.
It's like they used the same costumes, but they did it like in a terrible way. Like it was basically like their secondhand costumes.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of continuity. There's surprisingly a lot of continuity. It's just that like, you know, overall it was just so strange, and the pacing was weird, and it was just it was like a Star Wars fever dream.
Well, that's the thing. You know, we all grew up loving Star Wars. You know, one way or another, we kind of, you know, we wanted more of the characters we loved, and they gave us. You know, nothing wrong with Chewie's family, but it's not what we expected, and I don't think what anyone expected to be watching at 1978. You know, they want to see Luke, Han, you know, all that, you know, that. And then you got the tradesman who has, you know, kind of the going on story, and you know,
kind of funny.
It was.
Yeah,
you know,
I liked him.
I love that he tried to sell shit to like an Imperial guard who was off duty, which he just stole it from him anyway. So I'm like, what's the point?
That's how the Imperial like guard works, really. The Empire, they're just assholes.
So before we get to the end of this, because I have one big question, Madness. You know, I mean, what were I know we kind of going through a lot, but what were some of your thoughts of this, or what's something that's unmemorable? I want to say memorable, but what's an unmemorable moment for you?
Unmemorable. Ooh.
Or maybe memorable. You know, you can go either way. I mean,
What's a moment you can't remember?
When the guard went off the railing, that was kind of like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Especially the Wilhelm scream as well.
Yeah.
That the
I love
him.
and did you know? I don't at this because it kept showing the outside of the house. The railing was fixed. Like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, that's it.
Like-
You had to keep the cartoon thing first, so they can't afford to do two.
So, I was all this whole time. I was like, "What the fuck is Life Day? How do they celebrate Life Day?" And Chewie comes home, they get together, and then Han's like, "You are family to me. Bye, see you later." And then he actually comes back like 5 minutes later, like, you could have just stayed with them, hitch a ride. Because this is what I learned. This is what I learned Life Day is. You get together with your family. You take a ball of light, like in this little circular thing, hold it, then you magically appear in space, and then you go into the white light, and then all of a sudden you're in red robes, and then you are by like the one tree, and you're just all together. Am I correct? That's the end of Life Day. You just hold up glowing balls, and then
exactly
magically
like
go
Christmas.
into space.
That's it. That sums it up.
It's exactly like that sums up the Christmas season, 100%. Yep. Also,
And then Carrie Fisher sings a song. And FYI, the one thing I read about this, she was high on coke this whole time. She was just on coke this whole.
I wish I would have been high on coke watching this.
That's probably how they got her in.
I would have
We're
white girl
doing this
interrupted.
Christmas special. We need you.
It's the holiday special. Oh my
How
God!
did Leia and Luke get there? They was on different planets, I'm guessing. Where was they? Why didn't they just show up earlier?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the ball of lights called them
looking
off.
to the
But that's what I'm
ball,
saying. And then Han Solo showed up, and like literally 5 minutes before he's leaving, he's like, your family to me. He's looking at Nala. They have that weird moment, and then he leaves, and then
where she
literally he
wants to
comes
fuck
back.
him.
Yeah,
and then,
I got that.
And
That was weird.
he didn't. He could have just hitched a ride with them to this ancient tree thing before. And then it ends. That is.
This
basically,
was it was $1 million of production, right? Which is like translates to like what, $10 million nowadays? Like this is $1 million in the late '70s on a TV show, on a variety show that appears.
Motors.
Which is the last.
Got me right in the beginning. Sponsored by General Motors.
Well, so I don't know which version you guys watched. I did not. There is actually one with commercials I didn't watch, but I did catch it. Like, we will not be showing Star Trek today, and I'm like, I think some people would rather watch Star Trek than this shit.
No, I'd rather watch this shit than Star Trek personally. But that's me. That's
really?
their podcast.
The holiday special. But then it ends. Actually, the final thing is they show a trailer for the original Star Wars. That's it. That's what I saw. That's what I saw. They kind of showed like clips of like what happened during the first Star Wars, and then credits. That's the
Well, they
version
kind of did that in there because they're like, "Oh, I'm starring James Earl Jones."
Yeah.
Well,
That was
correct,
Darth
but
Vader, and it was like a clip of him in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm talking about at the end, they kind of just show a lot of scenes. Again, I might have seen a different version than you guys. I don't know because there's so many on YouTube. But I'm just like, that's it. Everyone have a happy Life Day.
An hour and 30 minutes is perfect. It was great.
It could have been an hour, and I would have been a lot better. It could have just been the cartoon, and I would have been fine.
Yeah, that's it.
That cartoon was weird, man.
It was weirdly drawn.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you just focus on the story and how Boba Fett tricked him, I'm like, that fits. That fits its character. That fits the motive. What happens
That's
in
his
Empire.
first appearance in Star Wars.
That is crazy.
Is the holiday special. That's fucking nuts.
And none of Chewbacca's family appeared in any Star Wars since. So what does that tell you?
The
Well, they
merchandise
were originally
itself,
supposed to do
Richie
Return of the
Lumpy.
Jedi. Return of the Jedi was supposed to happen
The Wookiee
on,
planet. Correct.
Yeah, but then he decided to just make it about merchandising because
And then Ewoks. But didn't they
George
go to
Lucas
Chewie's
sucks.
planet and one of the prequels, if I remember correctly, like Revenge of the Sith? Like, I don't know.
I don't want to talk about the prequels.
Yeah. Okay, let's not talk about that. Anyhow, well, before we end this madness, thank you for joining us for this. I know we always like having you in our Star Wars socks because it started with you in the Phantom Menace and that podcast, and I mean, it should end this year with you in the holiday special. So,
What a way to go out.
it's what a way to end 2024. What a year. But yeah, for those who actually ever seen it, let us know what you thought of it. What is the most unmemorable part? But I'm not even going to say memorable, but let us know in the comments what you thought of it. And until next time, in all honesty, have a Merry Christmas and have a happy Life Day.